Hey kiddies, it's Triple Feature Tuesday once again, and this week we finally say goodbye to Year of Our Lord 2016. Pretty, please kill me! I feel like Agent Smith at the end of the Matrix Revolutions, which I will talk about more next year, when Agent Smith Prime is looking at the Agent Smith that was made from Neo, and he's like scared about everything. He just looks at him plaintively and asks, "Is it over?" This year sucked, guys. There's no getting around it, and even if like certain political events had gone another way, this year still would have just not been great for me. Professionally, personally, it's just not been a good time. This was reflected in movies where usually I will end the year or begin the next year with a look at my top 3 films of the previous year or the current year. A lot of the times it's difficult because I'm trying to figure out, narrow it down to 3. This one, the 3 that I knew were going to be my favorites pretty much throughout the year. I knew it was going to be these, and it turned out to be these. Admittedly, I did not get out to the movies as much as I wanted. I did get out to it a decent amount of time. I'm making this list without having seen certain movies. I still want to see Moana. I still haven't seen Star Wars. There are a lot of other movies I wanted to see. I wanted to see Green Room. I wanted to see the Michael Bay Benghazi movie because Michael Bay, I'm sorry, it's just, he's my guy. I just like him. And the terrible, terrible movies he makes. Kung Fu Panda and Zootopia I did get to see on Netflix, and those were pretty good times. Zootopia was a lot deeper than I thought I was expecting it to be. That's a pretty good movie for kids about racism. Whereas Kung Fu Panda 3, while still not as good as Kung Fu Panda 1, did bring all the joy back from that first movie, which I appreciated to a great deal. Did not get to see Hardcore Henry. That looked like I wanted to see that because it looked like an interesting experiment in terms of translating video game stuff to movies, and can we bridge the gap between the two and make an even more palatable entertainment package. Did not see Suicide Squad. Did finally see Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice on HBO, and my God, that movie is even worse than I had expected. I mean, Jesus, it's just like, I had read the plot synopsis on Wikipedia, but to actually see the thing, it is balls to the wall wrong. I mean, there is just, I couldn't believe it. I kept hearing like everybody praised Batman and how there were a lot of things about Batman to like, but then, the whole approach is wrong, because, at the end of the day, he's saying he quotes The Dark Knight Returns, "we've always been criminals" line, to Alfred. Because, that means something to Alfred as opposed to Superman, Clark Kent. It just, God, so wrong-headed. And at the end of the movie, they just shaved Lex Luthor's head. That was it. It wasn't like the hair wasn't an obvious wig or anything. We're just going to shave his head so he looks like the comics. Fuck you. That's all I can take from Zack Snyder anymore. I haven't seen Jungle Book. Did finally see Keanu, and that is delightful. If it pops up on your cable, you should definitely watch that one. That one was just really, really great. The Nice Guys. Good Shane Black. Piggybacking off of last week. Neon Demon. That is an interesting movie. I don't want to talk about it because it's still kind of out in the open. You should see it. It's interesting. And it will probably not be exactly what you expect, no matter what you're expecting. Turtles 2. Really not good at all. The movie is completely pointless. With the exception of Bebop and Rocksteady were amazing. I mean, as much as they got everything else wrong, they got Bebop and Rocksteady right. They are so just happily married to each other in crime and deliriously in love with being mutant rhinoceros and warthog. And God, if the movie had just been about them, like if it was all from their point of view, that could have been really, really something. As such, the movie has this incoherent mess with just terrible takes on all of the turtles involved. But again, much like The Matrix, I've got an idea for that one too for next year, so that's going to be, I'll talk about that then. Didn't see the Lonely Island pop star movie. Did not get around to seeing The Conjuring 2, even though I wanted to. Didn't see Independence Day 2, because, come on. Didn't see Tarzan. for whatever reasons. Wanted to see the BFG, just didn't get around to it. It kind of came and went without me really noticing it. Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates looked funny because, well, Aubrey Plaza, and actually Zac Efron is pretty funny when you get down to it. The female Ghostbusters movie, okay, it's not a great movie, but if only as a vehicle for Kate McKinnon and Leslie Jones, the movie was worth doing. And it doesn't destroy anything from the Ghostbusters proceeding. It's honestly, it could have had more of a plot and or more of a different plot from the original movie, and you could have made Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy a bit less wet blankets. But man, Chris Hemsworth is funny, which, you know, it almost feels like a jerk thing to do because the movie's all about, you know, female Ghostbusters, and one of the standout things of the whole movie is, hey, Chris Hemsworth's funny. Not as funny as Kate McKinnon, because Kate McKinnon is the reason I bought that movie, because she's just amazing. Did not see Jason Bourne, did not see Kubo and the Two Strings. That looked really good. I love those Laika movies. Sausage Party, extremely funny. You should see Sausage Party if you haven't yet, because it's pretty amazing. And much like Zootopia is a good kids movie about racism, Sausage Party is a good adult movie about religion. Did not see Hell or High Water, though. That looked really good. Did see The Magnificent Seven, which is really just a good cowboy movie. If you don't go into it expecting any resemblance to the original Magnificent Seven film, you're not going to be disappointed. It's kind of fun to watch because all of these actors together, and they're all playing cowboys. Haven't seen Moonlight yet, though I'm probably going to see it in the next couple of weeks because it just sounds interesting. It's been getting such great reviews, and I like that Mahershala Ali after the Luke Cage show. I got to see more of that guy. What were my actual top 3 movies? Well, it was Don't Breathe, which I talked about at length during the Motor City Horror triple feature, so you can go back and check that out. Suffice it to say, it's just a really good horror movie. Or if you want to split hairs, a very graphically violent thriller in the vein of old 70s thrillers. I don't care if the premise is a little strained because he's a blind guy and they could just get out somehow. But I think the movie does a good job of keeping them trapped in there and providing a lot of good twists and turns that do not pop up just for the sake of having a twist or a turn. It's just kind of, you know, now things are getting worse type of twists, which are, you know, what we want for a horror movie. We want everything to get as you know, amazingly terrible before somehow, you know, either the last person makes it or they die an even worse fate than you had predicted going in. If Don't Breathe is number 3, going in increasing order of how much I love it, number 2 would be Star Trek Beyond, which, man, what a combination. Writers Simon Pegg and Doug Young combining with Fast and the Furious action director Justin Lin to create a highly entertaining Star Trek film. It is totally a sci-fi film. It is totally a sci-fi action film. All the characters are fleshed out. One of the brilliant things the movie does, like more than just the concept, more than just the special effects, more than just the absolutely gorgeous design work for the Starbase Yorktown, they split up Kirk and Spock. Kirk and Spock have maybe 5 or 6 actual interactions dialogue-wise together, which, as a result, the movie's not about Kirk and Spock. It's about the crew of the Enterprise, and everybody is doing something, and everybody's doing something to forward the plot and or to, you know, save the day, as the crew of the Enterprise always should be doing. And everything is building up to a moment that I'm not going to spoil for you. I'm just going to say that it is the visual embodiment of the phrase, "Let's hit them with the blinding light of American freedom." I nearly died in the film because I was so deliriously excited about everything that was happening. Star Trek Beyond. Trust me, if you loved the first one and you had mixed feelings about Wrath of Into Darkness, you know, this is the one that's going to redeem it for you, just because it's really crazy, exciting sci-fi fun. But the number 1 spot, as it shouldn't be a surprise, goes to a Marvel movie. But the surprise is that it is not from Marvel Studios. It's from Fox. It wasn't Captain America Civil War, but that movie did an incredible job with a comic book story that I would rank among the lowest of the low. The original Civil War story is just terrible and just silly. in a bad way. It was not Doctor Strange, though Doctor Strange was really solid. Saw that in the theater twice and was entertained both times. I'm not a magic guy. I really don't like Doctor Strange in comics at all unless he's guest starring in somebody else's book. But Cumberbatch and company really did a good job of making the character palatable to wide audiences and just another entertaining entry in the Marvel cinematic universe. It's just another solid origin story, and I'm very excited to see what they'll do in the next one, and or where Doctor Strange will pop up next. So it's a Fox movie. It is of course not X-Men Apocalypse because, man, I wasn't happy when Bryan Singer came back for X-Men Days of Future Present. But man, he needs to stop. He just needs to stop making X-Men movies because they're just getting worse and worse and just less coherent. I mean, admittedly, the Quicksilver scene is amazing because, as you may have guessed, I'm a bit of a Flash fan, and so simply an amazing depiction of super speed that I never get tired of. I have it saved on my phone, and I watch it at least once a week because the Eurythmics and super speed. Who knew that this was the greatest thing ever? No, my favorite movie this year, Deadpool. Hands down. Relentlessly entertaining. Don't know how they pulled it off. Don't know how they got the R rating to make the movie exactly what it needed to be, which it was. I mean, the movie was just start to finish Deadpool. A Deadpool comic turned into a film. Yeah, I saw it 4 times in the theater. 4. Saw it twice in the first weekend. Then dragged my dad to see it. And then dragged my brother and my sister-in-law to go see it. And it never stopped being great. Deadpool. Greatest movie of 2016. This year that was relentlessly terrible. And God help us for 2017. At least we've got a Transformers movie coming. It's kind of fun. My expectations for next year were pretty squarely assuming that Transformers 5 The Last Night would be the worst movie. But man, everything I'm seeing about that Power Rangers movie gives me the hope that it's actually going to be a contest between the two, of which I will be excited to see who the victor is. But in the meantime, if you want to watch 3 great movies from this shitty year of 2016, I highly recommend Don't Breathe, Star Trek Beyond, and Deadpool. And I will see you next year where hopefully things get better. Until then, have a safe and happy holiday.